Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Another project, I guess you could say almost complete, in the Tacoma SRT5 garage. Today's and yesterday's project was the body lift on my '03 Mercury Grand Marquis. I believe it'll all be the same from probably all the Panther chassis, because even the older ones have the same body. I'm not entirely sure. However, all body lifts are pretty much the same. You unbolt the body from the frame and you jack up the body. You put the lift spacers in between the body and the frame and you tighten the bolts. So let me do a camera flip. Here we go. I'm going to start off by showing you the box of old bolts here. I've got two left. The two behind the radiator, either side of, on the outside of the frame, right? Well, I can actually show you. This hole right here, if you look straight down, the nut's still there, the washer's still there, but the bolt is recessed because all the rest of the body mounts are in. I cannot get those driven out. I'm going to have to resort to heavier artillery or options or whatever. These two green ones go above your gas tank. So here's how we're going to do this. Those are right above the gas tank on the cross member, and we're going to go at the back of the frame by the bumper, and then about 2 feet forward there's two more, and then two more right under the back door where the door turns into the wheel well, and then two more where your back door meets the front door, straight up underneath there. And there's two, and I'll do it this way. That's pretty much how they're mounted. These are right behind the front wheel well. There's two here in the curvature of the frame. So first step is you're going to take these nuts off of the bolts. What you're going to want to do is one side at a time, and you can remove all the bolts from one side. So let's go back here. Let's say you've got the nut, and if you're lucky you got the bolt off the radiator support mounted. You've got these out. You've got these all the way down. Take them out. And you're going to turn these a few turns to give yourself a little wiggle room, because these are screwed into rubber mounts, but you'll get a little more wiggle room. Then you're going to take your floor jack and lift up this side of the body, and then take your spacer, put it between the body and the mount, and put your new longer bolts in. These are where I got mine. 16 bolts in total. I believe they're M10 by 1.5 if I remember correctly. So here we go. As I showed you up here, and you can come in behind the front tire or under the bumper. And let's see here. There she is. Right next to the radiator support here. See that? Okay, now number 2 and 3 are, here's your back of your front wheel well. One, or 2 and 3. Right there. Let's see, number 4 going down the frame. Number 4 right between the doors. Sorry for the sloppy camera deal, but I don't have a GoPro. So there's that. There's the spacer. I've heard some people take these out and leave these, but if you buy a 2-inch spacer and take this out, this is only going to give you a 1-inch lift. So these are 2 inches tall and 3 inches around.
What are you doing, baby?
I am making a YouTube video. There's one more mount right here. This is the back of the body by the wheel well. We're gonna go by the rear control arm. Right there. And reach your hand up, put it in there. And this is the one by the gas tank / shock tower. And my easiest approach was to come from up under here. I got a couple of extensions, and you unbolt it from the bottom side. Same deal. If you look to your left, this one's a little off kilter. I haven't quite settled it all down yet, but there's that one. And it is right where this hose goes into your frame from your evap system. There she is. I have not torqued these down yet. I've not completely done. I have a trailer hitch. It was a real pain to get in by myself because it's a really heavy duty one. So I ended up just loosening the bolts. These are carriage bolts, so they're locked in there. And the weight is just sitting on this. But your other one, your last one, had to wiggle the hitch just a little bit out of the way. Now you can get it from here. You're gonna need, these new bolts for me were a 17mm, a swivel, and an extension. They come right down here, or you can come from the bumper side over here. It is the same for both sides. That is a total of 8 per side. Let me stand up here. So again, we've got the bumper mount by the hitch. We've got frame mount, the gas tank mount, call it the back of the door mount, the middle, 2 up here, and 1 up here. You're going to start by removing all of one side. You're going to take your floor jack. This is what I did. I jacked the body up. Now you got to get under here and jack up the body and not the frame. So get your floor jack nice and close in there, and you're going to pump, lift it up. That'll give you that gap. You slide those into place. Put those, either get yourself new bushings for these bolts, or you can be like me and be cheap and just reuse these ones. Slide them onto the new bolts, slide them up in. The nuts inside the body, they wiggle a little bit, so you've got some, I don't know, play room. I threaded these in as much as I could by hand and wiggled them around to make sure they were anchored and not cross-threaded. Once you do this side and you've got them all started, go around to the other side and then proceed to remove all of them off the other side. Once these are all off, jack up this side, do the same as before. Put your mount in, put the new bolt in with your new or used bushings, and that's really it. My whole front end is not attached. I've been driving at these things down here. Oh, you can't see them. Kind of, sort of. There it is. I'm gonna have to buy a decent air hammer or something. But these are like stuck. I've been prying, I sprayed them, and somebody said the rubber grommet itself is threaded, but I find it hard to believe that it would be that stuck because the threads are pretty fine. They're not, I mean, they're not crazy fine, but they're, you know, I don't think they'd hold on with as hard as I've been hitting them, unless there's an anchor or something like that in there. These gas tank bolts, these bushings were pressed on. I held mine on the ground. I put a larger socket over the top, beat it with a hammer, and come right off. Few real good hits, but they do come off, and I was able to put them on the new bolts. But that's pretty much the gist of it. It's really not a hard job if you're into the lifting slash suspension modification and you're useful with a wrench. I'd say this is a beginner job. Level of difficulty probably geez, I don't know, 2 out of 10. These bolts for me, I've been beating on them and prying on them, so they're working their way up, but the front end is still suspended and kind of wiggles if I nudge the front end, so I got to get that fixed. But yeah, that's about it. I wish you all well. If you have any questions, be sure to comment, and please consider subscribing. I'm trying to establish this channel and cater to people's needs and questions, and getting them help if they need help. A little about this car. This is an 03. This is a alternator out of a old P71. I think it was 06 and newer, perhaps 08 and newer. This is the 200 amp alternator. I've upgraded my wire. I cut my Amazon jumper cables. They were like 30 feet, so I cut them down to 15, and I had spare wire laying around. I got a new battery terminal because that was all ruined. Upgraded this wire. This wire goes straight to the alternator. And I've got this. I've got 2 small wires here because I didn't have a lot of black wire lying around, but you can see here there. It's pretty sizable. That goes right to the body, or the engine. And there's my oil catch can because I want to see how bad a shape this engine's in. It's got 160,000 miles on it, and it was ticking like all get out when I got it, but it doesn't anymore because I did a bunch of work. So again, if you got any questions, please comment. Let me know what you got. I'll see if I can help. I think that's it for now. Have a good night. Be safe.